Hi friends, welcome to Raising Lifelong Learners. I'm your host, Colleen Kessler, and this is the podcast where I encourage you to trust yourself and your differently wired kiddos as you help cultivate their curiosity, encourage them to discover the world around them, embrace who they are wired to be, all while helping them discover their passions, interests, and raise them to become the amazing adults they're meant to be.
Hey, welcome back. This is episode 251. Today we're talking all about creating rituals and routines in your homeschool and how having those in place impacts your family for the good. This is going to be a great episode. I know you're going to get a lot out of it. So pop those earbuds in, go for a walk, tackle some of those dishes or the laundry, and we will get right on with this episode after this word from today's sponsor.
Are you a homeschooling parent with a child struggling with reading, writing, or spelling? Lexercise can help. Their online platform offers self-paced learning and expert instruction customized to your child's needs, all based on the Orton-Gillingham approach. We used Lexercise back when Logan was first diagnosed with dyslexia when she was, 8 or 9. And oh my goodness, the personalized support they gave us, the attention to detail, the program itself was just incredible. And Logan grew leaps and bounds. I'm so proud to have them as a sponsor for the podcast right now because more people need to know about their services. You can join thousands of families who have seen effective results, including mine, and have unlocked their child's love of learning. Visit lexercise.com/learners for a free learning disability screener and to learn more about their programs. Check them out and let me know what you think. Ask me if you have any questions. I'm happy to answer them or direct you to my contacts at Lexercise. But if you have a kiddo who struggles with reading, writing, or spelling, you definitely want to check out lexercise.com/learners and see what they can offer you. All right, let's get on with today's episode.
Okay, like I said in the introduction, today we're going to talk all about the importance of creating rituals and routines within your family and especially in your homeschooling. Today we're going to cover what rituals and routines are, how they are different, and the psychological and educational impact that they can have on your family. Okay, so first, I want to tell you about a family ritual that we kind of have in our home. And I've talked about it before, but it's something that has stuck with us for a really long time and something we just have fond memories of. So every year for the kids' birthdays, and I've got 4 kids, so there are 4 experiences with this, right? We have either donuts or monkey bread for breakfast, and then the kids get to choose one of the meals out. So if they want to go out for lunch or if they want to go out for dinner, and then whatever else they want to eat for the day if we're cooking another meal. They also wake up in the morning with their presents waiting on the kitchen table, and we have this birthday banner that is really kind of funny. I bought it from a store. It was a packaged birthday banner, mass produced. It wasn't anything special, but it's like cloth and spells out happy birthday, except the word birthday is misspelled. It says happy birthday, BRITHDAY. And it's like one of those kind of like a pennant banner, but instead it's like curved. So each letter has its own cloth space. And theoretically, we could cut it apart and resew it, but it was really inexpensive. And we got it from like Target years and years ago. I think we got it for Trevor's 2nd birthday. And he will be 22 this year. So 20 years ago, we got this banner. That's crazy. And so we hung it up in the family room for his birthday party. And we were having a birthday party with neighbors and family. And we had done this, we do this every year. We did this when the kids were young. Every year for their birthday, we had family over and a couple of their friends or the neighborhood kids. And so this happy birthday banner was hanging over our fireplace. And this was where he sat to open presents, and it was in the main room where everyone was gathering because his birthday is in November, and nobody noticed. that the sign was misspelled. Nobody, absolutely nobody. So we left the banner up because my birthday is 4 days after Trevor's. And so we leave it up every year in November for mine after Trevor's. And we're sitting around the table. My parents had come over for dinner, and my dad has this puzzled look on his face, and he's like staring over into the family room, which adjoined the kitchen at the time. And he's like, that banner's wrong. And all of us just kind of looked at him, and then we looked over to the banner, and one by one, slowly, we all realized that yes, indeed, it is wrong, and it is spelled completely off, and it has been hanging in our house for a week. And we had an entire birthday party with all of the extended family, cousins and uncles and aunts and grandparents and great-grandparents, and nobody noticed. So it just became kind of a running thing. And we have hung it up every single year. We hang it up every year for everybody's birthdays. And so we have to, and we even say, hey, don't forget, we got to get the birthday banner at so-and-so's birthday tomorrow. And so we hang it up, and we have monkey bread or donuts for breakfast because it started with monkey bread. When Trevor was young, I made monkey bread for him to wake up to, and I made cheater monkey bread. I cut apart refrigerator biscuits, rolled them in cinnamon sugar, and baked them. Trevor called it cinnamon roll donut whole cake when he was 1 because they looked like little donut holes that he would get, the munchkins that he would get at Dunkin' Donuts that we called donut holes, and it had cinnamon roll icing on it. So it was like a big cinnamon roll. And so he called it cinnamon roll donut whole cake. And for the longest time, that's all anybody had for breakfast on their birthdays. And then as they got older, they started requesting donuts. So we would alternate. But every single year, we have cinnamon roll donut whole cake or donuts for breakfast. The birthday banner is hanging for the birthday person. They get to decide on their own cake. And so some of the kids really like home-baked cake. Some of them like those torts that you can get at the grocery store. And some of them like ice cream cakes from a place near us called Dairy Queen. And we get that, and we go out to dinner, and we celebrate. And then we take off school for the day if it is during the school year. My kids know that that's going to happen, and they look forward to it. So fast forward now, we're at year 17 for my daughter. She's going to be 17 next week, actually, as of the time this episode is airing. And she has a musical theater intensive that she is going to be participating in during the day for most of the morning and the afternoon on her birthday. And then, like 3 hours after this intensive ends, she'll be going to rehearsal for a musical that she's in, and she'll be there till like 9:30 or 10 o'clock. So her entire birthday is being taken up with other things. Now, granted, it's all things she loves and she would choose to do anyway, but we're going to make sure we have cinnamon roll donut whole cake before she leaves, and she wants to go out to dinner in between. So a ritual is, it's more symbolic, it's more meaningful, it's more emotional. It's an activity that your family engages in regularly. It has some kind of deep significance, and it emotionally resonates with the rest of the family. It fosters a sense of belonging in the family. This is part of the family dynamics and part of the family lore and who they are. And so they look forward to it, right? And then a routine is kind of more pragmatic. It's a regular, repeated action or task of daily life. It's definitely task-oriented. It definitely provides structure and predictability in the home, and it's something that kind of forms the fabric of your family. And routines, frankly, are great to have when you're homeschooling your kids because, yes, things come up, so you want some flexibility, but you also want the routine so they know what to expect. In my book that is coming out, I've talked about the Homeschool Advantage, a child-focused approach to raising lifelong learners, several times on this podcast, on the website, and in the newsletter. But real quick, there are some amazing pre-order bonuses. This book comes out in 2 weeks. Isn't that crazy? I've been working on this book for almost 2 years. It comes out in 2 weeks. If you pre-order the book, no matter where you pre-order it from, you can pre-order it anywhere books are sold, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Target, Walmart, really any retailer. There are links to a lot of these places on my website, But if you go to homeschooladvantagebook.com, you'll find a page that has links to all the different places that you can order from. There are some amazing pre-order bonuses right now that are being offered if you order the book before its release day. If you're listening to this episode when it is originally aired, you have 2 weeks. The book is released on July 30th. If you're listening to this afterwards, still go over and check out homeschoolbook.com because we're going to have a nice little bonus for you too, even if you get it after the deadline for pre-orders. There is a Homeschool Advantage Get Started workbook that's available for you. And then several of my friends offered other resources as well. We've got a couple different unit studies. We've got a literature guide. We've got a nature study guide. And then we've got access for a month to a learning library that has resources for teaching art, music, physical education, and STEM. It's fabulous. On top of all of that, you get a newsletter that is only for people who have pre-ordered the book that will have all sorts of giveaways and contests between now and the pre-order period ending. So check it out. Inside the book, I talk a lot about building family connections, and that right there is the most important thing that building family routines and rituals can do for you in your homeschool. You're building connections with each other, which gives you a more solid family foundation, and you want that when you're homeschooling your kids. You want that when you're parenting your kids because it does so much for your kids psychologically. It does so much for your entire family. So let's talk a little bit about that. Routines are really important for your family, especially your homeschool, because they provide a structure that your kids need. They give them security and stability, helping them remember who's got their back, who's there for them, and they know what to expect on a daily basis. Routines give them a predictable structure, and it helps our kids feel secure because they know what to expect. It gives them control too over their daily schedule. They know what's coming next, so they feel like they're more in control, and this reduces anxiety. If you've got a neurodivergent kiddo, which chances are you probably have if you're listening to this podcast, then you know what I'm talking about. When they don't know what's going to happen and when their future is unpredictable in any way, this includes their daily living, their anxiety gets spiked. And so when we have predictable routines, our kids know what to expect. This also translates to a stronger emotional regulation. When routines are consistent and are lowering their stress and anxiety levels, this creates a calm and stable environment for our kids, which reduces their stress. And because of that, they have emotional safety. They feel that their home and their homeschool is a safe space. This promotes their well-being and helps them become more independent and have more responsibility over the things that they need. When they're following routines, they learn to manage their time and responsibilities independently, so that they become more confident as they successfully complete routine tasks. We've talked before on this podcast, and I talk a lot in the Homeschool Advantage about helping your kids gain confidence. Because when our kids are confident in who they are more emotionally resilient. They're more able to handle anything that comes their way in life, making them more likely to be successful in whatever it is they choose to do. When it comes to having predictable routines, our kids are able, like I said before, to manage their time better. This transfers to all areas of their life. When they're better able to manage their time and regulate their emotions, they are kind of following a more stable flow to their day, which then translates to all areas of their lives. When they've got this stable flow and they're confident in who they are and they have a safe place in their home, they naturally start to develop better eating habits, better exercise routines, better sleep patterns, and this all improves their overall health and mood. So there are all sorts of psychological and physiological benefits that creating routines in your home give your family. Not only that, though, they produce a ton of educational benefits too. And as we are homeschooling, we want to make sure that our kids are safe, healthy, physiologically and psychologically, but we also want to make sure they're making strides academically too. When we have consistent routines in our home and our homeschool, our kids have improved focus and concentration. So routines, whether that is an actual schedule or a looser routine, and in our home we have a loose routine. We get up in the morning and the kids kind of do their own thing. They are getting their breakfast, maybe starting on some of their independent work, and then at some point we'll pull together for a couple shared activities, and then we'll have lunch, and then they'll work on some of their independent things again, and then they'll play outside or get into something that they want to get into. We'll make dinner. Usually I work after dinner in the evenings, or I'm driving people all over the place. We have a consistent routine, which then helps to create a structured learning environment in our home. And because of that, the kids are able to stay more focused and concentrate more when they're on the specific task. So if it's math time, because this is the time that they're doing their independent stuff, then they're able to focus more on their math. If it's a time that they need to be outside or they're helping to make dinner or whatever, they're focused on that. Because of the structure and the routine, they are able to focus and concentrate more. And clear routines reduce the likelihood of distractions. They're able to better concentrate on whatever it is they're supposed to be doing in a given moment because the routine is helping them stay on task and on target. I do want to take a quick minute here to say that I know some of you are listening and you're like, I cannot get my kids to sit and focus and concentrate to save my life. And I don't think just implementing a routine is going to solve all these problems. And you're right. When you have a neurodivergent kiddo, maybe you're struggling with anxiety, and any new thing, any new task, any new subject matter causes a spike in that anxiety. It doesn't matter how consistent your routines are, you're still going to be dealing with the spike in anxiety. If you've got a kiddo with ADHD and they are very distractible and very impulsive, it doesn't matter how strong your routines are, you're still going to be dealing with that. So I want you to remember that by implementing the structure and the routines, you're not enacting a magic potion or a silver bullet that's going to solve everything or fix everything. You are building the structure within which you're going to continue working on those challenges that you and your kiddos face. I have ADHD. I'm sitting here recording this at like 2 o'clock in the morning because I mismanaged my time again today. I got a lot done today. I got some laundry done. I cooked a couple meals. I helped one of my kids with a college class they're taking. I visited with a couple of my kids. I helped one of my kids learn how to laminate and laminate a game they've made. I did a lot, but I didn't manage all of the things that I needed to get done before I was able to allow myself to go to bed tonight. That was a choice that I made, but it was also my distractibility. I have a structure to my day, but it doesn't matter how often. There are some days I'm going to get involved in my child's assignments that they're trying to get done. There are times I'm going to be drawn into a debate, or I'm going to want to cook a meal, or I'm going to remember that I don't have any clean undergarments and I need to throw a couple loads of laundry in. Whatever happens, but we need to know that we have the structure in place to bounce back from that when we are raising a neurodivergent household and we are neurodivergent ourselves. We're going to have times where no matter how strong the routine is, it's just not going to work out. So remember that. Ideally, when you're more consistent, strong routines and systems that you have in place will improve the focus and concentration within your home. It will also build a better academic performance because regular study routines reinforce learning and help our kids retain information. It also ensures that our kids are completing assignments when and if they're able. So when we have these routines, our kids know what's expected of them and they do it to the best of their ability. And so this helps them be more consistent and reinforces their learning and retention. It also helps our kids learn time management skills because routines teach our kids how to prioritize tasks and manage their time efficiently. Now, like I said, if you're dealing with neurodivergence, like I am right now, that doesn't always work out. I know how to prioritize my tasks. However, I still let this one go a little bit too long. Following a routine also helps our kids understand the importance of planning and scheduling their activities. I have had a child recently miss out on a couple of things because they didn't manage their time effectively. That happens, but still experience the consequences of their poor planning. When we have strong routines in our home, we are able to help our kids practice the things that they need to practice, which again aids in long-term retention, but it also helps our kids develop skills. I talk a lot in the Homeschool Advantage about strength-based learning and helping our kids find and follow their passions. When our kids have a talent or an interest or a passion they just are all in on, when they develop their time management skills, when they have regular routines to get the things that they don't really love to get done, they have more time to dive deeply into their interests and their passions. And so they become better in those areas. They become more talented. They work on their craft and they work on their skills. Consistent practice helps our kids master skills and concepts more effectively and efficiently, and it also helps them excel in the areas in which they're destined and bound to excel in. Strong routines can also help our kids have a sense of excitement and motivation for learning activities because they're engaged in regular activities as part of these routines. And so learning and doing and exploring and adventuring is just a natural and enjoyable part of their day. We can get our kids excited about things maybe they wouldn't have been excited about otherwise. We can also help our kids spend the time doing the things that they love, and we could build that into our routine. It's an amazing gift that we have as homeschool parents, and we should capitalize on that because as we're building these routines, as we're building our kids' interests and strengths and passions, we are preparing them for life. We are teaching them essential life skills like time management and responsibility and self-discipline, like I talked about. We're also teaching our kids resilience, how to handle stress, how to adapt to changes in adulthood. But even better, we're teaching our kids to set and achieve their goals because we're breaking them down into routines for them. So it's becoming more manageable and they're developing the habit of persistence and diligence, which is key to achieving long-term success. And we want our kids to be successful in the things that they want to do. We want them to be the best versions of themselves all the time. Okay, like I said before at the beginning of this episode, routines are regular and repeated actions or activities that are part of daily life. And usually they help us in practical and task-oriented ways, and they're designed to provide structure and predictability within our homes. And family rituals, which I want to talk about right now, are more symbolic and meaningful. Families engage in these regularly, and they usually have a deeper significance, and they foster a sense of identity and belonging in the family, and they build on each other and give our kids kind of that like sense of being home. Family rituals have a huge, huge impact on family relationships. They're so important to the longevity of the connections you're building in your family. There are so many links that I can share with you on my site, so make sure that you check out the show notes for this episode because there's lots and lots to read about connections and rituals. But the impact that building these rituals can have on your family cannot be understated. So when we develop family rituals, we strengthen the emotional bonds within our family. We're creating shared experiences. This is fostering a deep connection because the shared experiences bond family members together. They create moments that become cherished memories, which reinforces emotional ties. I can't tell you how many times I have heard stories repeated again and again between my husband, his brother, and his sister about their father. Grandpa Lenny was just an icon in the family. In fact, the Homeschool Advantage is dedicated to my family, but also Grandpa Lenny. And it was written in memory of him because he just had such an impact on everybody he met. He was a great guy, give you the shirt off his back, a little rough around the edges in an endearing way, kind of a gruff, grouchy old man who you just loved to be around because you just rolled your eyes at him. And we adored him. And my husband and his siblings will talk about the same stories again and again at almost every family gathering, to the point where they are like snort laughing and tears are streaming down their face. They have these memories and these emotional ties to one another because of the things they did with their father again and again and again. And those rituals of just talking about the stories and sharing the memories can build in your kids' lives. Now, here's the thing, and this is kind of a sobering thought, and one of those thoughts that I have every once in a while, and it kind of makes me like, it feels like bittersweet, right? The goal is for us to raise our family in a way that makes them want to spend time with one another, because the truth is, if life happens the way it's supposed to happen, our kids will outlive us. And so they will have each other. And we want to foster this connection now so that they want to spend time with one another long after we're gone. We want them to be sitting around snort laughing and crying about the time we laughed so hard we fell down or whatever it was. I remember my husband and his brother telling a story about Grandpa Lenny laughing so hard that he was having trouble bringing breath in. And his face kind of turned red and he fell out of his chair, and they were worried that he'd hit his head and passed out. But he was just laughing so hard that he got a little dizzy for a second. And we want those stories, right? We want those memories. We want those times together. And we want our kids to want to spend time together. And when we create these memories and these times together with family rituals, it provides dedicated family time for members to focus on each other, free from external distractions. They often facilitate deep conversations as well. And because of this, those connections might not happen in everyday interactions. So it builds in a natural time for those to happen for your kids so that they have that, again, long after you're gone. Many of the rituals that families engage in involve expressions of love and appreciation, such as giving thanks at meals or celebrating birthdays, like I talked about with the cinnamon roll donut hole cake. Those show that we love one another, and maybe you love your faith and you love service and doing these things with your family members. Rituals also can involve physical closeness, which promotes affection and intimacy, like family hugs, bedtime stories, holiday celebrations. There's something very special about those intimate connections that you have with your parents and your siblings and then extended family as you grow. It gives you that sense of security like we talked about before. When we create family rituals, we're creating a sense of belonging. We're building a family identity that includes family traditions, values, and beliefs, which creates that strong identity and distinguishes your family unit from others. I know that friends of my kids have come over and really enjoyed some of the things that we've done, and my kids have gone to other friends' houses and enjoyed some of the things that their families have done. Years ago, we stopped going anywhere outside of the home for Thanksgiving. Instead, we decided that we were going to have Thanksgiving dinner at our home, and if anyone wanted to come over, they could. And over the years, we've had different family members come for Thanksgiving dinner. We've had friends come. We've had people who didn't have anywhere else to go. We've had people just come by for dessert. One year, not that long ago, we were often invited to other places. And one year, we decided to try going to a family member's house. And we love this family member, and we love spending time with this family member. But my kids, while they enjoyed themselves while they were there, every single one of them, all four of them, expressed their disappointment in missing out on the simple Thanksgiving meal that I cook, that they're used to. we had a lovely dinner with turkey and stuffing and mashed potatoes and desserts and all of the things you'd expect at a Thanksgiving dinner. But it wasn't cooked in exactly the same way that I've always cooked it. And they missed that. There was a nostalgic piece and a uniqueness to what they remembered of our Thanksgiving. And so a couple days later, I cooked a Thanksgiving dinner at our home so they could have those meals. I'm hoping that down the road, when my kids start having relationships and kids eventually, that they want to share that and they bring their kids back for our Thanksgiving dinner. But we'll see, right? Because they'll hopefully marry into another family that has their own rituals. And so you just never know, but you're building the possibility of that. The other thing that family rituals do is they promote inclusivity. They typically involve all family members, which builds unity and can allow everybody to contribute in their own way and based on their own strengths, which gives everybody that sense of belonging, right? They know that they all have a place in the family. Rituals provide regular opportunities for family members to communicate openly and honestly. For years, we had family meetings once a week, and it was a place where we could resolve conflict, have a safe space to discuss things, and strengthen our relationships. And we still try to have meals together and talk about things fairly regularly. It gets harder as your kids get older and are out and about. I have an adult child. Like I said, he'll be 22. I have someone turning 17 next week and will be starting her college application process because she's a rising senior. And then I have another high schooler, and then I have a 6th grader. So it gets more difficult as they get involved in different things, but you still have the space to have open dialogue because you've built these family rituals, you've built the connection. And so the conversation spaces are always open. Rituals also encourage family members to share their feelings and experiences. It fosters empathy and understanding within the family unit and promotes active listening because family members pay attention to each other. They listen to stories and perspectives, and they know that each one comes at it from different places, so they learn to get along with people who might have differing opinions. Not all of my kids follow the same political leanings. All of us have a core of similarity within our political beliefs, but all of us have some different opinions based on different platforms and different pieces to the different platforms. And because we love each other and because we value each other's opinions, we listen better and we listen actively so we can hear each other's perspectives. All of those things lead into what I think is one of the best parts about having these family rituals. They provide emotional security because we have a regular thing to look forward to and we know we've got each other's back and we're interested in what each other is doing. Family members feel more secure and grounded. They know that their birthdays are going to be celebrated. They know that they're going to be loved. They know that if they're in a play or playing on a sports team or doing something interesting, that every family member will come to support them at one time or another.
Hey there. Okay, so you've heard me talk about CTC Math for months and months, and it is because we just love it here. It has made my homeschooling easier, especially when it comes to math. I'm not a mathy person, and I never have been, but I love CTC because it makes it easy for me. And then when my kids struggle with a certain concept or they're not getting something quickly enough, I can watch the lesson too, and then I can get it. So it's teaching me really, truly, almost as much as it's teaching the kids, because if I don't get something, I can watch the tutorials. And that exact experience happened to a longtime follower, Sandy, who wrote in, "We started using CTC Math following your recommendation, Colleen. One of my sons is so dedicated. Then, after watching over his shoulder, my other son started using it too. They both do an hour each weekday, their choice." Now, side note here, CTC Math only takes about 7 to 10 minutes per lesson. My kids tend to do 1 to 2, sometimes very occasionally 3 lessons a day. So we're talking like anywhere between 15 and 40 minutes of math a day, max. But Sandy's kids are so into it that they are doing an hour a day, their choice. Okay, so Sandy says, I even enjoy it myself. I do the lessons with them, which is a handy brush up, and will occasionally do some of the algebra lessons ahead of time. Math was not my strong suit in school, but now I love it, and I wish the program had been available in the 80s. Too many people think they're terrible at math, but I truly believe we all need a method of learning that suits us. CTC Math seems to work for all three of us. I asked my 13-year-old son, who's been using the program for about 18 months, what he thinks of it, and in his own words, he said he enjoys reaching mastery in a particular subject because I know that if I get a question wrong, he says, I'll have to redo all the questions until I reach mastery. That means I will have a full grasp of the subject, and that's pretty satisfying. 13-year-old. Come on, like you can't beat that. Okay, FYI, Sandy says, I have the pass rate set to 90%. So parents, you can set the rate you want your kids to meet. My settings, depending on the kid, are set between 85 and 95%. I've got one kid who is a full year ahead in math, and he's really good at math, and his is set to 95%. I've got another one who's a little iffy at math, and that kiddo's level is set to 85%. So you get to do what you want to do in it, and that's amazing. Okay. She goes on to say, and finishes off this quote by saying, CTC Math is unlike any platform that's out there, and I just love it. I appreciate you, Colleen. You have a special place in my heart for everything you put into your work, and I appreciate you and all the things you share. Seriously, I'm going to keep sharing resources like CTC Math because they work. They make homeschooling easier, and they allow us to do the things that we want to do with our kids and basically take off of our plates the things we have to do with our kids. Our kids need math. Let CTC do it. Check them out at ctcmath.com. Let them know I sent you, and then if you've got a story to share, I'd love to hear it. All right, let's get back to today's episode.
And so it really helps your kids have that sense of belonging and give them a chance to really value one another. Let's talk about a few examples of family rituals and routines that we can implement in a homeschooling context. Because most of you listening are homeschooling, or at least thinking about homeschooling, and you're thinking to yourself, or you're yelling at the podcast, I have a lot on my plate. How do I start pulling this in when I already have to keep my house from crashing in around me and plan all the meals and get everybody where they need to go and deal with all the therapies and all of the other stuff that we have going on? Well, let's start with some routines. You can start with some morning routines like waking up at a relatively similar time on a day-to-day basis, perhaps eating breakfast or letting the kids get their own breakfasts and start schoolwork. When my kids were younger, I really struggled in the morning to get myself going because I was usually up with one or more kids at night. And so I started strewing out things. I would strew different activities that the kids could just engage in on their own, books or activities or challenges or just different things I wanted them to experience. They would get up, they would get their own breakfast, they would play around with or explore the different things that I had strewn out, and I would drink my coffee, hot and in peace. And then we would start our day slowly, like around 10 a.m. That was kind of our routine. It was a wake up time for me and kind of a get acclimated time for them, and then we'd move forward. And then we would do work together around the table, and then they'd do their own thing, and then we'd eat lunch, and then we'd play outside. So that was our kind of daily routine, and you can do that too. I'll link to a couple of resources in the show notes about strewing so you know what I'm talking about. You could also have some independent schoolwork kind of focused routines, like a dedicated time during the day when everybody is focused on independent work. That's especially helpful if you work from home like I do. So like this time of the day, nobody is coming in my office. I'm working for an hour. They're working or reading silently for an hour. They're all doing their own thing. That's something that you can implement. Another great routine you can easily implement is a bedtime routine. reading a book before bed, brushing your teeth, going to bed. These are family type routines that are almost no-brainers, but we kind of forget about them when we think about homeschooling and we make things more difficult for ourselves. But really, it's just like pulling out some of the other things that you need to do as a homeschool parent and creating a routine around that. One thing that we just started doing, I can't remember if I've talked about it on the podcast before. I might have. It might have been a couple episodes ago, but I just started doing it. We're about 4 weeks in. 2 of my people in my home do not like this new routine, but it's also because those are the 2 people in the home who most needed it because their behaviors were being enabled and other people were picking up their slack. So based on the suggestion of a friend of mine, I stopped doing everybody's laundry. Instead, everybody has a day of the week where their laundry is able to be done and they're responsible for their own. I'm responsible for my own, but I'm also choosing to be responsible for all of the linens and like the towels and stuff. So we have 6 people in our family. One of my children, actually one of the people in my family is assigned Monday. Another is assigned Tuesday. Another is assigned Wednesday. Another is assigned Thursday. I am assigned Friday and Saturday. And then somebody is assigned Sunday. Now, if in an ideal world, if the person who is assigned on Monday does not get their laundry done, they're out of luck till the next Monday. Or they could trade with somebody. Or they can wait until somebody has finished their laundry on a day and throw a load in. We have had some bumps in this road, but like I said, the 2 people who are the bumpiest are the 2 people who typically wait for others to do that work and then grumble if it's not done or their stuff isn't put back in their room when they need it. And so this has eliminated that because I get to say, well, I'm sorry that you don't have any clean underwear, but you chose not to do laundry on your day, and now it's not your day, and I'm using the laundry room. My hope is that those 2 people in particular will start being more cognizant of time and managing their laundry better. I've gotten in a great routine over the last few weeks. Usually, on my laundry days, I do 2 loads, a dark load and a light load. And then I have maybe 1 or 2 extra loads of towels. I am spending way less time having my days eaten up in the laundry room. It's been amazing. One of my people in my home has been all in and has been experiencing the very same thing. And this particular person does not have a large wardrobe, and they are getting things done really in 2 small loads, a light and a dark, and they're doing it at like half the drum size, and they're really enjoying it. You can choose routines like that too that help you out. Rituals, on the other hand, are a little bit more fun, they're a little bit more emotional, and they are those that really cement that bond between you. You can choose to have, like I talked about earlier, a weekly family meeting. Maybe every Sunday you meet after dinner with a dessert or something and you discuss the week ahead. You share goals, you share stories, you share reflections from the previous week, you share what you're grateful for, what you're looking forward to, and you're all on the same page going into the week. Celebrating achievements is a great ritual. A special dinner or outing to celebrate a challenging project or the end of the school year or the beginning of the school year. We have not back to school day every single school year, and it started as kind of like a joke the first year that we homeschooled because my husband still teaches. So on his first day back to school, we celebrate that we were not going back to school as he was. We go to the park and the donut shop and play board games or swim all day, and we still do it. We still do not back to school day. The kids get some fun. They get new school supplies. They get their new curriculum if they're getting curriculum for that year. They get some fun little surprises, like loosely related to schoolwork, and then we play. It's a lot of fun. It's something we look forward to, and it's a celebration of our choice to homeschool. Every one of my kids has been involved in different things over the years, and they've had showcases, they've had performances, they've had sporting events, and everybody goes to at least one. So back when my youngest was like 7, he was playing basketball, and 7-year-old recreational basketball is agonizing to watch if you're not a sports fan. And a couple of my other kids are not sports fans. And they didn't have to go to every single game in a season, but they had to go to at least one and celebrate him and cheer him on and make him feel special. 2 of the people in my family do not enjoy musicals. One of my kids is passionate about musical theater. So everybody goes to at least one show in each of her runs, and they celebrate her and they cheer her on and they bring her flowers. We do this for everybody because celebrating achievements and celebrating the things that they are passionate about is important. We also have holiday traditions, decorating the house for the holidays, special meals, like I talked about the Thanksgiving meal before. When we understand the difference between routines and rituals, we can incorporate both into our lives, and they both have an importance. Routines are providing the necessary structure and predictability, while rituals are giving us meaningful connections with our kids and cherished memories as a family. Both of these are essential for a balanced and fulfilling family life, and they are crucial to the long-term success of our families. So I want to know, how do you incorporate routines and rituals into your family life? If you go over to the show notes for this episode, you will find a bunch of different things. You'll find links to lots of different podcast episodes that I've shared about these topics. You'll find links to articles about building family connections and routines and rituals. You'll also find links to books that talk about this topic. And you will find a contact form link and a voicemail widget. I would love it if you would either leave me a voicemail message and tell me what kinds of rituals and routines you have in your family and in your homeschool that work, that you love. You could even let your kids leave a voicemail message and tell me what they love that you guys do all the time. I would absolutely adore hearing that from them, especially. You can click the contact form and write me an email. It'll go straight to my inbox and I will answer it. So I'd love to hear what you have going on in your life, routine and ritual wise, and how you're building those strong family connections in your family. There will also be links to connect with our sponsors for today's episode. CTC Math is always a generous sponsor, and they keep this podcast going, truly. I'm so appreciative of them. I'm also appreciative because I'm a customer and they keep my homeschool going. So check out ctcmath.com. You can find the link over on the show notes. You can also find a link to Lexercise. Lexercise is a new sponsor of the podcast. We love them. I used Lexercise when I was diagnosing and getting the initial support on my daughter's dyslexia, and they were very, very helpful. Really, truly made a huge impact. So check them out. There is a link on the show notes for Lexercise that takes you to a quiz that you can take, kind of an informal assessment of what's going on with your kiddos. So check that out. And then don't forget to leave me a message. I want to hear about your routines and your rituals. We'll be back next week, same time, same place, but with an interview. I'm super excited to bring you this interview. It's somebody I love sharing, and I can't wait for you to hear this conversation. All right, have a great week with your kids. Enjoy your time together. Build some new routines to help keep your flow going, and start some new rituals with your kids. Build those family memories. You will never, ever regret that time spent. All right, I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.